Hello and welcome to Engine Adventures off-road review of this 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser First Edition. So let's go over a few of the off-road things first before we jump into the actual testing. I do like the fog lights that are actually driving lights. I like that you can change them to yellow because I like the yellow color for that. Down here, the tow recovery, whatever points are here, there's a loop and a hook there. That's usually for tying it down to a trailer or whatever. Metal skid up front. This one's plastic, but back here, metal kind of bash plate. Michelin LTX tires, not very aggressive. So they're 265/70 R18s, equates to a 32, I want to say. I'll put that number up on the screen. We're going to be doing the high-speed section with the sway bar connected. This thing's pretty squishy, so even with the sway bar connected, it won't be too bad. And the front's the one that disconnects. What else? We've got the rock rails here on the First Edition. The suspension setup on this, you got coils with links there. Really nice setup, honestly, for off-roading, good articulation and all that kind of stuff. The spare tire hangs down pretty low. I actually bumped it already. You can see a little bit of wear right there where I bumped it, but you can see the rear axle as well. Pretty solid built rear axle. This is the hybrid. They're all hybrids, all the Land Cruisers for the US market. 4-cylinder turbo with the hybrid system that adds, it's like 48 horsepower. Total horsepower is oh boy, now I can't remember, 328, 368. I'll put that number up on the screen. And then the torque's in the 460 range, 469 I think is what the torque is. So you get a pretty good amount of torque, which is great for an off-roader. It's not a race car, doesn't drive like a race car, but it does have some of those really good off-road features and that low-end torque. I'll be in four-wheel drive high, none of this stuff engaged, just normal drive mode. We're just gonna cruise down the dirt road as if you got in the car, threw it in drive, and started going. All right, here we go. So what I expect for an off-roader in this test is 20 miles an hour. Sorry, let's see, I'll get on first because it's gonna freak. Sweet. All right, so I kind of aim for 20 miles an hour. This first little section here is more rough than that, at 18 in there. But all right, so now we can jump up to 20. We're at 20. That was a little rough even. Yeah, I wonder if the length on this thing is just right to be hitting these bumps wrong. We're at 20, 21. Pretty smooth. The jump's coming up here. It's hard, actually, the hybrid system, it accelerates really quickly, so just trying to add a little bit. And here's the jump. We still have the rear camera on. Sweet. Yeah, so honestly, that was a hard, I think we bottomed out at 21 miles an hour there. I think this vehicle is just meeting my goal of 20 miles an hour, maybe slightly above it, 21-ish. So overall, not bad. There were a few harsher hits, but even the harsh hit, when I say harsh, it's not a harsh thud. It's just a slight bottoming out. Overall, I think it did quite well, but not in the TRD Pro range for a Tacoma or ZR2 range for the Chevy Colorado. This is kind of an in-between size. It's maybe a little bit bigger than those, but anyway, it's kind of a decent off-roader, but not a high-end performer. All right, we're gonna do the steep hill climb, and it's gnarly right now, so it's really rutted out. That big boulder there, it looks bigger from the downhill side. I don't think it'll be an issue, but I might go kick that out of the way. Just in 4 high, so just gonna try 4 high normal. It's not gonna make it, I don't think, but we will give it a shot. So, and I'll close the window so we don't have a herd of angry bees. right, 4 high, normal. This is just how you would drive down the road. Haven't disengaged anything. And we're gonna take the hardest line, and this thing is so rutted out. So I'm full throttle right now. It's actually not giving any hybrid boost, so that's interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the off-road information here. Let me hit MTS, and let's go with dirt. There we go. Let's see if it can do better now. And it can't. So it claims it's full throttle, but it's really not. So we're gonna go ahead and put it in neutral, shift down into 4 low. There we go, locked in. Okay, 4 low, just the normal. I'm gonna turn off MTS, just the normal mode, and immediately it's just driving right out of it. So, oh. And you can see it's disabled all the safety features and whatnot. It does show, I don't think we were that steep, but it showed we were almost 30 degrees, and it does show which tires are slipping. You can see right there, front right, rear left. But really this system is very effective in 4 low, and 4 high it definitely struggles. And I do go slow. I know a lot of people will talk about that, but I go slow because carrying momentum makes it easier. So if you go slow, you're being harder on the vehicle versus going fast. And this thing in 4-wheel drive and in 4 low, either way, the center diff can be open or locked. And I'm 95% sure, I'll make sure, but that when it's open, it's actually not open. It's a torsion style limited slip. So we're first gear, 4 low, first gear. And let me pull up the camera system. This drop's gonna be pretty steep. I might even scrape. Yep, but that's what rock rails are for. All right, so I'm on the brake still, and just sliding down the hill. But we will let off, and actually I'm gonna engage both lockers if I can. The rear's locked, or sorry, center's locked. The rear is not. There we go, now the rear is. And once I get down here, I'll let off the brakes entirely. This thing has an 8-speed automatic, and so it does have decent gearing just because it can have a pretty low first gear, and with the 4 low, it'll get you down pretty low. But let's actually check what that means for right here. So 5, 6, 7 miles an hour. So definitely not the best we've tested. This bump has changed, so I can't let it go through this dip like I used to be able to. Anyway, at 6 miles an hour, 5, 6 miles an hour, 7 miles an hour, that's not bad, but it's definitely not as good as we've seen in things like the Nissan Frontier, which is 4 or 5 miles an hour, or a manual transmission truck, which would be like 2 or 3 miles an hour. Okay, let's go ahead. We're gonna do this probably 2 more times, so we'll do crawl control on this one, and then we'll do the center and rear diff locked for the next one. So 2 more times.
Okay, sounds good.
That's good. Is that battery still good on the GoPro?
It's at 8%.
All right, sweet. Okay, crawl control. So we're gonna hit there, and we're gonna go speed 2. Uphill, you generally want to be above 1. If we go at 1, it's a little too slow. And maybe I'll even start at 1. I'll crank it all the way up. And then once we get up here, turn it down to 1. Well, we're not in the worst spot yet. Or not in a spot where we would articulate yet. Okay, now we're down to 1. So again, we have the gauges here, inclinometer, angle gauge, and you can see the cameras all around. riding a horse a little bit here. It's working its way through it. You can hear the ABS going off. So again, in 1, it's not quite as smooth. So if I turn this up to 2, again, the momentum factor of it will help. This front left wheel is actually off the ground. There it goes, back down. So you can see my foot's not on the gas of the brake. We're just working our way up this hill, and really no problem. Makes noises, but other than that, no issues. And this is how crawl control pretty much always performs in this test. So at level 1, I've had other times where it's really struggled and not been able to do it, but usually at level 2 or more, it's not an issue. Okay. Oops. All right, so now we'll do crawl control going down just to show you that. And I'm not even gonna mess with the drive modes today. I don't know, some of you probably want that, but suffice it to say that the drive modes work. They do what they claim. For example, if you're in sand mode, it's gonna let the wheels spin a bit more. And if you're in rock mode, it's going to really limit the wheel spin, and it actually makes a change. So then as you're going in between all, you know, the sand mode and the rock mode, as you're going through each of those different modes, it's going to change quite a bit. And let me see if I can actually change. Oh no, I can't right now. So I'll change the drive modes in just a minute, just to show you what there is. You can see how jerky it is with the crawl control on. So I don't know that camera's actually on. There we go. Oh, I'm gonna turn it up. This is too jerky, so we'll turn it up one. You can see we're about 25-ish degrees, 22, I think. This isn't the steepest part, but I do like the off-road thing. It shows you what your wheels are doing. It shows you, you know, for example, if I hit the center diff lock, let's see if it actually locks. It's trying to lock. Huh. Does not want to lock. Let's try the rear. Yes. So it's showing here they're both flashing. It's trying to lock, but neither of them are locking. And that is one issue I've had with this Land Cruiser the whole time I've had it. There we go. Center's locked. And there we go. Rear's locked. Okay. So I've had this issue. It doesn't like going in and out of full low, and it doesn't like engaging and disengaging the lockers very much. It kind of has to work through it to get through that stuff. So. Okay, we're going to turn that off, and alright, so let's try and engage those again. It clicks and it just doesn't quite want to go in. It kind of drives me nuts. There we go, we got both of them, front and rear. All right, we're 4 low, center and rear are both locked, and this is just gonna be me driving. Actually, I did want to show the multi-terrain select options. So you have rock, auto, sand, mud, and rock. It's not gonna matter because I have the stuff locked on this one, but you basically have the rock mode is really aggressive on the braking, and the sand is the least aggressive. Just lets you spin the wheels, like, you know, quite a bit more. It will still apply the brakes, but it just does it a lot less than rock mode. And then mud mode is kind of in between the two. So yeah, and you can see obviously with it locked up, I'm surprised I'm slipping there, but with it locked up, it's just gonna work its way through this stuff without without much problem at all. Which is why I like mechanical lockers. And there are drawbacks to it as well. Like the rear end could slide sideways a bit. And it has happened to me with that before. So, all right, I'm gonna back down and get some pictures. One more test. I'm in 4 high. The center diff is locked. I tried to unlock it. It's there flashing, but it's not unlocking. But I'm gonna turn off traction control. And I'm gonna hold it down and see if it turns all the way off. There we go. So it is all the way off. If you just push it, it like mostly turns it off, but not all the way. Anyway, we'll lock it down into first gear. I guess it was gonna be in first gear anyway. And let's see if we can make this in 4 high, which there you go. So Toyota, when you disable traction control, it disables traction control. So it just lets the wheel spin. I can actually see a little smoke coming off the tire there as it heats up. So I'm gonna turn it back on and we'll just do the first mode with traction control off and see if it still has the brake-based limited slip. And no, it doesn't. So even just hitting the button once lightly turns off traction control in this and lets the wheels free spin. That is a good feature to have, especially in the Toyotas where you have multi-terrain select, and we can hit, I don't know what mode's best for this type of scenario. Let's try mud mode, see if it can do anything as far as the braking goes. And so it says traction control and stuff's off, but it is using the brake-based limited slip system, and now you can see we're moving forward by using the brake force to do that. So that is what you want. If you have the other drive modes, then your traction control off button should do exactly what this did and turn off the traction control. So even in the mud mode and the multi-terrain select, it's able to make this climb. It's requiring a bit more throttle and finesse and stuff, but it's not too bad to do. Thank you for watching Engine Adventures off-road review of this 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser First Edition. Very capable off-road. It's what you would expect. It's a Land Cruiser. It's a bit heavy, but didn't seem to bother it much. The weather and terrain is actually really good for traction. So it rained, snowed just a little bit. It all melted down there. So it's not really light dust. It's kind of sticky mud. And not really even that muddy, so it's pretty good traction overall. But even still, if it were worse conditions, I think this would have no problem making this climb. And you can see here the articulation is actually pretty good, so this is almost maxed out. It might have like a 1/4 inch or something to go. The batteries and everything in the back make this thing more heavy on the back, so it'll rock down like that. In the GX, and I'll put the pictures up on the screen, we were doing some articulation stuff. The front would actually stay on the ground and the back would lift up, and I really do attribute that to the weight of the batteries in the back. But you can see how stuffed in there that one is. It's not happy right now. Hopefully that parking brake and the park position and the transmission hold, but it was mad at me for parking on a hill. But anyway, so that one is clear off the ground here. Again, overall performance is really good off-road. It's what it's made for. High-speed off-road, it's adequate. It's good. It's not over the top. It's a bigger, softer vehicle overall, and it's not a desert runner type, but it's a good all-arounder. So for the high speed, if you're going down washboard roads especially, I bet this outperforms just about anything out there, because it's really, suspension is really tuned for that type of road. My high-speed off-road test is more big holes and bumps and stuff like that, so it's a little harder for a vehicle like this, but it did really well. And then again, the steep hill climb, no problem at all once you put it in 4 low. In 4 high, all the systems, traction control, that kind of stuff, kind of fought it a bit. It didn't want to make the climb in 4 high, but in 4 low, it's just walked right up it, no issue, especially with the lockers engaged. So thanks for watching, appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe, give me a thumbs up. If you do subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications, and it actually like shows you my videos. If you don't ring the bell, then you might miss the new videos I post. And then be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what vehicles you want to see, what testing you want to see. I read pretty much every comment and respond to most, so your comment will most likely be seen and taken into account for future videos. Thanks again. Have a great day.